Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all having a good week. I am playing with a bunch of new makeup today. I have a lot of makeup that I received in PR while I was traveling over the last month, and I also have the stuff that I picked up in my Korea haul, which was a couple of videos ago. So lots of new things to play with today. I have a ton of stuff in front of me, so let's just get into it. I do have a new hairstyle. It's a little flat because I slept on it overnight, but let me show you. So I chopped off I don't know, a few inches, quite a few inches because the ends were dead. I just needed a good chop, but it's still pretty long. It's like right at my mid boob area. And I got a bit of a curtain bang, though it's flat because I slept on it. And then I got lots of choppy layers and I toned my old highlights a little bit cooler toned. I think the next time I go in, I'll maybe retouch my highlights a little bit. We'll see, but just wanted to show you. I don't even know if you can tell on camera, especially because I'm wearing a black top, but that's the new hair. I'm just gonna get my hair out of my face for now. I thought I would show you a new brow gel I've been liking. I can't remember if I've showed you guys this or not, but it is the Espresso brow gel. Looks like this. I was just wiping the skincare out of my brows. That's one of my tips if you are using brow gel and you have stubborn brows like me. I think we forget that skincare can accumulate in the brow area, so I always wipe them down. This is just a clear brow gel. Looks like this. I feel like I've showed you guys this on camera, but I can't remember. I really like it. It's great for a slightly lifted laminated hold. It is a lot wetter than my Benefit brow gel that I usually use, but I still really like it. I feel like it's a little bit less, because it's thinner, it's not as goopy, though it takes a little bit longer to dry down. So I always kind of back comb, and then as it's drying, I will comb the brow hairs in place. And then I just kind of press the brow into place where I want it. But it also does give hold even if I'm not going for a fully laminated look. So I like the versatility of this. I'm sorry it's so dark. It's the morning and I usually film in the afternoon, but it's really cloudy today, very blue and gray. So I hope that's okay. If you've been watching me for a while, I shifted away from using studio lights because I don't know, I feel like they sometimes create an unrealistic depiction of what makeup actually looks like in person. I do bring them out every now and then sometimes, but this is one of the side effects of using natural light. So let me know what you think if you miss the studio lights. Personally, I kind of like the organic feel of this, but I'd love to know what you think. All right, brows are done. I have my skincare on. I'm not going to use a primer because I want to use the new YSL cushion that I got. I have been using it. I've used it a couple of times and it's so beautiful, but it is on the dewier side, so I don't feel like I really need anything else over my skin. I do have one of those clear pimple patches on right on my jawline right here. I don't know if you can see. I'm just gonna leave it on. Honestly, I'm pro pimple patch, out in public, wherever, do whatever you want. So I'll link the ones I use below. This is the cushion. I shared it in my Korea haul. It's stunning, but it is, I think, an Asia and Europe exclusive. The shades are not good. I don't even really find cushion shades in Asia very often, but I did find one while I was traveling. I won't spend too long on it because I know it's not necessarily accessible to everyone, but I wear the shade B30. If you can get it, it's beautiful. It's called the Touche Claw Glow Packed Cushion. It has this mesh cover on it, and it's the weirdest thing. The cushion just picks up off the mesh. It's actually a pretty popular cushion design in Asia these days, and you just press it onto the skin and it's super blurring, it's dewy, it's hydrating, but it's not greasy, it blurs over pores. I really, really wish it were more accessible because it is really beautiful. You can get it, I think on Yes Style or some of those Asian beauty resellers, but it is expensive if you're buying from the US. So if you're in Asia or Europe or any of the other markets where this is sold, you're lucky. I think I got it for 50,000 won or something like that, which is around $50 US basically. You can see how I'm just going over my skin. Well, actually, you can see here how even this shade is already a little bit light for me as we're going into summer. But you can see I'm going over the skin, just one layer, and it evens out everything, but it doesn't really look like makeup. It's just such an elegant, beautiful finish. It definitely has coverage, you can see that. It kind of like blanked out my face. But because it's so serum-y and thin, it spreads out. So I kind of like that, having a sheer layer of high coverage that's actually kind of undetectable, rather than building up low coverage to the point where like you actually have a lot of product on your face. It's a preference thing, but I'm really loving this. All right, the foundation sets down on its own really nicely. I don't feel like I actually need concealer because I can bring this, and I did bring this around my eyes. I was actually just about to powder in my T-zone and my under eyes, and Laura Mercier released a new powder called the Real Flawless Luminous Perfecting Pressed Powder. And it looks like this. It's a very like kind of a fatty compact, sloped on the top, and it looks like this. And I just swatched it. I haven't used it yet. And it's called the Luminous Perfecting Powder. I don't see glitter in it, but there is this slight, I don't even think you're going to be able to see it on camera. There's this slight pearlescence to it. This also does come, I think, in like 4 or 5 shades. They just sent me translucent. It's not glitter, again, but it does have that luminosity that makes me hesitate to use it in my T-zone. So I think I might actually use it to set the under eyes, like not where my creases are or like where my skin folds are, but sort of where I would apply highlighter, like right there. And I'm using the Smith 103 brush. I like a targeted powder brush for this reason. I do think it looks pretty, and I think it's going to look good, especially on like dry skin types or more mature skin, because it has this really forgiving softness to it. It's like velvety, but I don't think I'm going to use it in my T-zone. I would actually even use it to set my forehead because I don't need to be as matte there, but I do have an oily T-zone, so I'm going to use something else for that. I'm actually just going to use their loose powder. This is their translucent ultra blur powder. This is not a luminous version, so I'm going to use this in the T-zone instead. Just around the nose. I feel like in my 30s, I'm getting more product buildup around the crease of my nose, which makes sense because that's like where my smile lines are, and I have like round cheeks, so they accentuate like in that little nose crease. So I do powder it, but I really tried to add the least amount of powder necessary to get the effect that I need. And I'm also powdering my eyelids for eyeshadow. I actually do like that. I think there's a utility for this kind of powder for a certain kind of skin type, but you can tell, I think, the difference between like where I powdered here, where there is that kind of polished or more like porcelain sort of finish, versus around my T-zone where I powdered, where it's definitely more matte. So, you know, there's definitely a certain skin type that I think will enjoy this. I'm using the Halika Jelly Blusher, Jelly Dough Blusher. It's super cute, picked it up in Korea. I showed you guys this in my haul. It's like a cream blush, and it's very, very soft. It has the most interesting like moussey texture, and it comes in a little cushion. It's super cute. So I did not powder my cheeks for a reason, so that I could go in with this. I have to say, I have this shade number 04 Nuts Jelly, and I am not super optimistic about the pigmentation of this because it doesn't swatch great. And you know, K-beauty products are not exactly known for their pigmentation. It's much more about like this ethereal, light watercolory, like natural flesh sort of look. So we'll see. I'm excited to play with it. It comes with the tiniest little cushion puff. It's so cute. So I am going to try that, and maybe that'll pick up more product than my fingers. But you can see even when I like press into it, it's got that really fun texture like that. So I'm just lightly tapping it on the cheek. I'm really using a light touch because I don't want to pick up any product underneath. So that's the blush. It's very natural, but I think you can see, like, compared to bare skin, there is this like almost coming from within sort of blush. I don't think it's super buildable because the texture of the product, I don't want to add too much because I'm worried that it's going to pick up the product underneath. So this is very much for a very like natural sort of blush look. But that doesn't really surprise me. You know, I think that's the generally like the East Asian beauty aesthetic. But I also think there's a time and place for like a natural looking blush. The finish is also not dewy. So it's a cream blush that has this like, yeah, it does have this doughy finish. It's called Jelly Dough. And it makes the skin look really smooth, but it's not dewy or shiny or glassy in any way. And it's not sticky to touch. It actually like sets down to a matte finish. To me, I won't lie, this is mostly like makeup entertainment because this texture is just so fun to play with. It's not going to show up if your skin is much deeper than my skin tone. I'm going to be honest with you. If you're very fair maybe and you have a hard time finding blush that is not too pigmented for you, you could check this out because I think it's giving a nice like even application. It was also very affordable. You can get it on Yes Style. I'll link everything below. Yeah, not the most pigmented. It's definitely like a different makeup style than the American makeup style or even the Western makeup style. But I think you can see that now, right? I applied it kind of like broadly. Maybe I'll even apply a little bit on my nose. It's actually kind of a good shade for that not too obvious like slight blush across the nose. I really don't like when it's that obvious. I don't think it's that cute. At least not on me. But that is kind of just enough. Actually, I think this is growing on me. It's more buildable than I thought it would be, and now that I have this broad application, I kind of like the tone on my skin tone. I'm gonna go in with bronzer, and I have a couple of new things from Jane Iredale, which I haven't used. It's a brand I haven't used very much, but these are so gorgeous. So they have these new refillable compacts. They're magnetic, they're stunning. And look at this like multi-shade product. So you've got a glowy blush, bronzy tones, and highlighter. It's kind of like an all-in-one. And these are like substantial in weight. So they've launched a couple of shades of these. The one I have is, I don't know, the name is on the back of the pan, so I don't have the shade, but I'll link it below. All right, I just pulled it up. This is called the Pure Bronze Shimmer Bronzer, and the one that I have right now is called Rose Dawn. They also have this in 5 different shades, which is really nice. So that's Rose Dawn. And then they launched matte bronzers, and they look like this. I hope you can see the cute embossing on the pan. These are also really nice and fit into their magnetic compacts. I have the shade Medium here, which is a nice, like, warm, caramely undertone. It's actually deeper than I thought it would be. There are only 3 shades in this range. They could definitely use more shades, but I think overall it is maybe a little bit deeper than I expected. We'll see. So they sent over a couple brushes as well. They sent over a fan brush, which is generally not my preference, and they also sent over this angled brush, which I think is nice for the powder bronzer, but I really, really want to see what this looks like on the cheeks today. So let me grab a different brush. All right, I have my Rephr 05. This is a bigger brush and it's fluffier. It does have that like round shape, but I think it'll be nice for something like this. So I'm just gonna tap into all of the shades. Oh, it is picking up a lot of product. And I'm just going to sweep it towards the back of my cheek. I'm going for illumination here because the blush ended up being pretty matte. I want to add some glow to the cheeks. I don't often go for all-in-one products like this, but I actually do really like this one. It's not too glowy. It's just kind of pearly. I think you can see on the cheeks. It's not glittery at all, which is important for me. I'm gonna bring it into my temples. And then I think we can use a bit of bronze. So I'm gonna actually just use the same brush, tap into the bronzer. There's not as much pickup on this. This seems harder pressed. I'm just sweeping it broadly across the face and the forehead. Okay, I think that looks really nice. It's actually not too pigmented, very soft to blend, easy to use. I like the refillable format. I haven't used a lot of Jane Iredale, like I said, but I know a lot of sensitive skin types like mineral makeup or like pressed mineral makeup, and a lot of people like their pressed foundation for that reason. So if that's you, I think these are really nice options, and they're actually very like elegant formulas. All right, moving on to something very exciting. Victoria Beckham Beauty launched their, what are these called? Their longwear, or their eyewear eyeshadow sticks. These are longwear crease-proof eyeshadow sticks. I think there are 7 shades and I have 5 of them. So let me swatch these for you real quick. So there are both matte and shimmer shades, as well as neutrals and also some bright shades. So here are the swatches, starting from this side. This is Trench, which is kind of a matte camely nude. And then I've got the shade Caramel, which is a shimmery caramely brown. Bottle Green, which is a shimmery, I don't know, it's sort of like a gray, ashy green, really deep forest, cool toned green. And then the yellow shade is called Sunflower, and it's so bright and vibrant. And this beautiful lilac shade is called Macaron. So those are the shades there. And these are all pretty much like one swipe swatches. So they are very pigmented, and the pigment, like the actual quality of the pigment in these is really, really beautiful. I kind of want to try the yellow. I have actually already worn the macaron shade, this lilac shade, and it was really beautiful. I kind of wished it were a little less creamy and a little bit drier, because I do feel like on my oily eyelids, even when I set them and powdered them before applying this, it did crease a little bit. However, once I topped it with powder eyeshadow, it didn't crease, or even translucent powder would work. I'm kind of just like curious about this, and I've been wanting to try a bright yellow eyeshadow, but I do feel like maybe I need a powder eyeshadow to set it with in case I need to do that. So let me grab that real quick. You know what? I know a lot of us are neutral eyeshadow wearers, so let me try some of the neutrals for you so you can see how the formula blends and how it looks on the eyes before I go into a color. So I'm going to take the shade Trench, which for me is just a shade deeper than my skin tone. It's actually kind of like an eye contour on me, and I don't even know if it's going to show up on camera, but I think it's a nice base. If you need an eyeshadow base, or if you have fairer skin than me, it's a good kind of eye contour shade. These deposit color right away. They're super creamy, and you can blend them out with fingers or with a brush really easily, and then they set down. It doesn't even look like I'm wearing eyeshadow, but it just kind of opens up the eye a little bit. This is kind of reminding me of Laura Mercier's Caviar eyeshadow sticks in Au Naturel. That's a shade I use as an eyeshadow primer often too, similar to this, where it just adds a bit of shadow to the eyes and a bit of structure without actually adding a lot of depth. I have to try out this yellow, so I'm just gonna go for it. Let's see what happens. Super creamy, really easy to apply. There's like no tugging or pulling or anything like that. With these bright colors, there's a lot of, there's like a white base. That's how you get that color to pop, that brightness. I mean, white within the formula itself to get that like pigmented look. This lighting is not the most flattering for this eye look. I feel like you can't even see it on camera. I'm gonna start over. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the vibe shift. It's not even that I didn't like the yellow, I just realized it wasn't the mood that I wanted to wear today. I think I'm gonna go more natural. Sorry, that's boring, but I really wanna try out the caramel shade, and I feel like this is the stick just came out. It's like in the lid. It broke off. Shoot. I'm gonna try to fix it. Okay. The stick broke off. We can save it. I hope it can stay in there. I'm gonna try to like press it back in. Not the best sign because I haven't used this yet, but here we go. I'm just going to draw this, like smudge this in the outer corner. It's actually a bit deeper and smokier and even more cool toned than I expected, which I'm not mad at. It's just a little bit more of a smokier look than I thought it would be. I do feel like that trench shade is a nice base for adding other shades over because it's kind of gripping, helping the product like grip onto the eye now that it's set down. I don't know what it is. I'm not like head over heels for this formula. Maybe it'll grow on me. The shimmer shade actually is not like super shimmery, which I think is good for every day. Like it's not glittery at all. There's just a bit of sheen, like pearliness running through it. It's also applying nicely with fingers as I'm building up pigmentation. I don't know, it's not immediately grabbing me or making me super excited. The pink shade, or this purpley shade, which is very hard to see on camera, that shade did make me feel really excited. But I do feel like I need to play around with them a little bit more just to figure out the best application method, because now I feel like it's a little bit patchy. I don't know. What do you think? I think cream eyeshadows in general are difficult to formulate, like for this reason, especially cream sticks, because you need them to be creamy enough to blend onto the eyes and apply easily without tugging, but you also need them to be stiff enough that they hold their form. And as you can see, mine fell out of the stick, so I'm like, maybe it's a little bit too soft, or it melted in transit or something like that. But so TBD, I actually, I'm not in love. I like them, but I think I like the colors more than I like the formula so far. Have to play around with it a little bit more. I did get compliments when I wore this shade, this lilac shade. So it is a really beautiful shade. I just kind of need to play around with the application a little more, I think. Okay, I actually have to show you. I don't even know if you can see, but I feel like as I'm blending it, the shimmer particles, or like the pigment, is clumping up on my eye, like on the outer corner right here. And you probably can't tell from far away, but I can tell as I'm looking at my eye. So maybe it's because I shouldn't have layered the two shades, but I don't want to bother it anymore. So I'm just going to leave it as is, but I did want to mention that. I don't want to add too much because I am going to go into my new Lily by Red Color Cara. So this is a colorful mascara, and I picked up the shade Rosy Brown. And I showed you guys this in my haul. It's a K-Beauty product. It's super affordable, available online. And this is what it looks like. And let me just show you like the color of the mascara so you can see. It's kind of this like, yeah, it is a rosy brown. There's a red undertone. It's almost plummy. So I'm going to use this on my lashes, and I want you to be able to see them. So I'm not going to go too deep on the eyes. So I'm just going to give them a little curl. I'm going to do a light coat of my Peri Para Ink Mascara Fixer to help hold the curl, and then I'm going to go in with the mascara. This is actually a pretty like bushy wand. I'm kind of surprised, and it seems pretty fibrous too. It's almost like a volumizing mascara wand, but it's giving me some good definition, and you can see the tone. I don't know if on camera it'll look that different from a black mascara. I just think it's a little bit softer, and if you have brown eyes, especially in person, the purple makes the brown eyes pop. That was actually surprisingly buildable, so I actually feel like I got a good amount of length. And again, it's subtle, but you can see compared to this eye with no mascara, this adds some like soft flutteriness without the intense drama of a black mascara. So here's the mascara done. I really like this. I am actually really, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because I'm Korean and K-beauty mascaras work really well on me, but I feel like it's really holding a curl. It was very buildable without being overly voluminous where it's like spider lashes. It's fluttery, and again, this This shade is like, it's not enough to make someone think, oh, they're wearing purple mascara. It just adds a little bit of something, a little bit of dimension and softness around the eyes. For brows, I've just been going for a slightly softer look lately. So on top of that brow gel that I put down earlier, I'm just using my 1999 Beauty brow pencil. I actually use the shade Light for a soft shadow through the brows, a little bit less of the like brow hair, individual brow hair drawing on look that I have been doing. So I'm just gonna shade through the brows. All right, eyes are done, brows are done. I just thought I would see, I haven't wiped off these swatches yet, obviously, and I thought I would see how crease proof they are. And actually, now that they've set down, I'm pretty surprised they're really, really not budging. Wait, that's crazy. I wasn't expecting that. Maybe when I first used that lilac shade, I needed to wait for it to set down before adding powder because they're actually not budging and I'm kind of confused. And you can see like I'm actually rubbing. Huh. Puzzling. These are puzzling me. I think I have to play around with them more because I feel really confused about this formula. I don't know. I'm finishing off the look with the Clio Dewy Blur tint in the shade 05 Caramel Pumpkin. I actually haven't used this yet. I hauled it and then I like kind of forgot about it because I was saving it for this video. So let me just pop this open. So it looks like this, a beautiful packaging. It has this little indent on the side and this is a gorgeous shade. I'll just swatch it right here. So you can see it has that like blurred quality and this shade is so beautiful. I like that it doesn't pull too red or too cool tone like cherry. I feel like a lot of lip tints, like K-Beauty lip tints in the past often pulled just like bright red on me. And so I'm hopeful that this has these like earthy undertones so it won't do that, I hope. I do feel like these formulas have just gotten better and better with time. And this was a newer formula of Clio's. So no lip liner, I'm just going straight onto the lip. I'm gonna apply it in the center of the lip, not going all the way out to my lip line. And then mush it together. And then I'm gonna blend it out and create a diffused lip line. I actually really like this. You know what? I really like this. It feels really comfortable on the lips. It's not drying as it's setting down and it doesn't feel too silicone-y. It actually feels almost like a matte lip balm. And I really liked how much control this formula gave me over where I was applying pigmentation and creating that blurred lip, but it does set down. It's not like a glossy tint. It is a dewy blurred tint. Like it feels balmy on the lips, but it doesn't look shiny in person. And I really like this tone. I feel like it's earthy. It's like a very good everyday sort of shade for me. It has a bit of warmth, but it's also still kind of pink. It's like my ideal kind of pink, like a warm pink with a bit of a little touch of orange. So yeah, this also comes in many, many shades. Like there's brighter pinks, there's cool tones, there's deeper berries and reds. So I will link this below. You can get this in the US or in Western markets on like Yes Style and Stylevana. All right, so that is the finished look. It was honestly kind of a puzzling get ready with me. Let's talk about everything I used real quick. The YSL cushion is an absolute win. If you can get your hands on it, I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's absolutely stunning. One of my favorite things I've ever tried from YSL Beauty. And of course it's not available in the US, but it is available elsewhere. The Jelly Dough Blusher by Holika Holika pleasantly surprised me. I think she's cute. I don't think it's like I'm head over heels, it's like a necessity, but I do think I'm gonna have fun with her for a little while to come. And I didn't have very high expectations for this, so I think that's why it surprised me. I do think the Jane Iredale products were really, really nice. I especially like the glowy bronzer blush combo thing. I don't always go for these, but I really like the tones in this compact and I like that they're refillable. The bronzer was also nice. I actually felt like it pulled a little bit more red than golden, which I didn't mind, but yeah, it's a really nice option. These compacts do feel really luxurious. The Laura Mercier powder, I'm gonna have to play with a little bit more. I think it actually might be nice for touching up on the go, even though the compact's a little bit big, and I think it's going to be a really nice powder for drier skin types. So if you want a creamy powder and or a product that makes your skin look creamy, but mattified, but smooth, this is the one for you. These, I have to play with more. I'm a little puzzled. Oh, I went to wash off my swatches with soap and water, and they're still on. I mean, some of them came off, but I'm actually gonna have to go in with an oil cleanser and remove these. So I don't know, my opinions changed. I was like, I love them, and then I was like, they're not blending out quite as I want them to, and now I'm like, oh, they're actually super crease proof. So I think I might need to play around with the application method of these more and maybe just give them more time to set down before I manipulate them on the eyes. And I also think I like the matte shades maybe better than the shimmer shades, because the shimmer shades, like, that's what got kind of patchy on my eyes, like as I was trying to blend out the shimmer. But the matte shades that I've used, the Macaron and Trench, I really liked. So I might have to report back on these. If you have tried them, let me know what you think. Other than the cushion foundation, I actually think this Lily by Red mascara is my favorite thing that I'm wearing right now. Even on camera, it kind of looks like I'm wearing a warm toned eyeshadow, even though the eyeshadows I used were actually quite neutral or cool toned. It just makes the eyes pop. This shade actually reminds me a lot of Urban Decay's Alkaline eyeliner. You guys know I really love that shade for making the eyes pop, and I feel like this has a similar effect. And this was the other thing that I enjoyed a lot, the Clio Dewy Blur Lip Tint in Caramel Pumpkin. It's actually gotten more matte, so it's not actually that dewy. It's more of a blur tint. So if you want that kind of like blur diffused lip, but you don't like something shiny, I think you'll really like this, and the shade range is really nice. So that's the finished look. Those are my thoughts. Let me know if you have any questions, thoughts, comments in the comments below, and I'll meet you there. And if you enjoyed, I would love for you to subscribe and hang out again. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.